Well, away from the razzmatazz of AI, let's talk Nigeria at 65 at this time. A journey defined by resilience, creativity, and keep moving forward. Now, yet beyond the celebration lies the real task, building a stronger institution, empowering our youth, improving education, and restoring public trust. One of the questions on the lips of Nigerians is how can we achieve a Nigeria of our dream? Join us via Zoom from Canada is the co-founder, Africa Data Warehouse, BuharI Adedosu. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And once again, happy Independence Anniversary to Nigeria.
Absolutely. Nigeria at 65, are we truly independent? Looking at some of the challenges we've been through since the independence, since 1960.
Well, one thing I would like to say is Nigeria is very much on track, no doubt about it. We were not where we were years back, and we may not have arrived at our destination, but no country ever arrives at a particular destination without taking certain steps. And it is in this regard that I will conveniently say that as a nation, at 65, let's applaud Nigeria. Let's applaud the citizens of Nigeria. Let's applaud everything that is called Nigeria. We have come very far and we are on the right track. Nigeria has achieved a lot in 65 years. Many nations at 65 cannot boast of what Nigeria has achieved. I understand that people expect so much, but hey, things gets built over time. And the nations that we have that are called the so-called developed nations today, 65, they were not where Nigeria is today. So whatever the case may be, not minding our challenges, not minding the noticeable shortcomings, Nigeria has come very far and Nigeria is on track. I'm happy that I'm seeing changes. I'm seeing the kind of innovations. I'm seeing the kind of Nigeria that I would love to live in and return to. And that can only be achieved through government being focused, commitment, and the government making sacrifices, and even the citizens playing their part. One thing I always say is, it is the people that build the nation. It is the little things we do in our various corners that become great, that build greatness for the country or create great challenges for the country to surmount. So we need to be intentional about building Nigeria. Building Nigeria is not about politics. It's not about political affiliation. It's about seeing Nigeria beyond the leadership of the country, because we are all leaders in our different spheres. We are leaders in our different spheres in the sense that in every area of our influence, whether you're in the office, whether you're a taxi driver, whether you're a market woman, you are a leader. You are impacting the system. And how well are you impacting the system? The countries Nigerians migrate to have developed because the citizens take it upon themselves to build the country, and building the country simply means being disciplined. And trust me, a lot is still ahead to be achieved.
Okay.
With concerted effort, we'll get there.
Mr. Adedosu, some would say you're speaking like this because you are not in the country, facing some of the challenges that ordinary Nigerians are facing at the moment. Take a look at the removal of fuel subsidy. The president has described some of the initiatives or policies put in place as a surgery that it will soon be over. So can you speak to this, putting on leadership on the people? What about the core leaders? What are they doing to cushion the effect of some of these challenges that ordinary Nigerians are facing at the moment?
Thank you very much. This is one narrative that really gets me angry. That I'm saying this because I'm not in Nigeria. I'm not saying this because I'm not in Nigeria. I'm somebody that is well represented in Nigeria. I have activities. I tell people being abroad does not change my commitment to Nigeria, does not mean I'm left of the Nigeria. than the next person who is in Nigeria. No, that is not the way it is. It is a very lame way of saying things. When you say, oh, you're not there with us. Every country's challenges are peculiar. I know the challenges I'm facing in this country that are not even being told by the media. A lot of things that are not being said by the media, simply because the media here, they have rules of engagement that a lot of things don't get published or publicized. Let me give you an instance. I have a mother, an aged mother in Ibadan that I send money to. I
Location.
know the cost of living has changed for her. And one thing I always say about the price of crude oil or the price of fuel, when people were jubilating about deregulation, I said they didn't know, I told them they didn't know what they were jubilating about, simply because they don't understand what the regulation means. Let me give you a very practical instance. Right now, as I woke up this morning, this is just about 2:38 a.m. If I should go to the gas station, the minimum price I'll buy a liter of petrol this morning will be $1.42. That's the minimum. By afternoon, let's say by 2 o'clock, the price will drop slightly to like $1.38. What does that tell you? And it simply means the price of fuel is not dictated by the government. There is no subsidy. There is no subsidy anywhere. If we want to continue talking about the government removing subsidy, is like we ate our meals days before, and days after we don't have anything to eat. Now we have to fast. Like the Muslim will say, I don't know the right word in Arabic, but you eat sari, then at the end of the day you need to do the fasting. That's what it is. Now, let me give you another practical example of what people are saying that makes it a no-brainer. Some years back, before COVID, around 2020, 2021, the 7 kg bag of rice here in Canada sold for $9.99. That was 2020. Please mark it. 7 kg bag of rice sold for $9.99. That's before tax. And how much is the tax? The so-called VAT, the VAT we have in Nigeria, we call it HST, GST here, is 13%. So before tax is $9.99. Today, as I'm speaking with you, the same bag of rice, 7 kg, is $20.99 before tax. I was in Nigeria between July and August. I bought a 5 kg bag of rice, for 7,500. What does that tell you? And when people talk about, oh, Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world, they just cringe. That do people really know what they're talking about? Let me give you another instance. People abroad are actually living in poverty more than we can imagine. If I want to buy a large cup of coffee, it sells for $3.69. $3.69 for a cup of coffee without a sandwich. If I choose to have sandwich, bagel, or any other kind of sandwich to eat, that will cost me an average of almost about $10.
Mr. Adedosu, some will argue or disagree with some of your analysis this morning, comparing where you are to what is really happening in Nigeria.
This is what you are trying to do. You are trying to say is because I'm not in Nigeria. I'm trying to lay the foundation to let you know that economy of one country and not the economy
so Mr. Adedosu, at what point can we just a moment, at what point can we truly achieve the Nigeria of our dream?
Okay, let's say one thing. We want to achieve the Nigeria of our dream. Do people actually understand what they mean by the Nigeria of our dream? What do we mean by Nigeria of our dream? Well, part of the Nigeria of our dream is making education affordable, is making health affordable. Let me talk about education. It is on record that before the military takeover of 1966, education was free in the southwestern part of Nigeria. Free education introduced by late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. And after that, universal education to every level was free. Now, what has this government done? Through NEL Fund, the same scheme we have abroad that we call the students, we call the OSAP in Ontario. student loan. Government has made funds available to Nigerian students. As at September of this year, 510 Nigerian students have benefited from NELFA. Apart from the fact that the government is paying the tuition fees, there is also an allocation of 20,000 naira monthly for upkeep, stipend. And now the government has disbursed 99.5 billion naira so far, and 228 higher institutions have actually benefited from this. That is one of the ways to achieve the Nigeria of our dream. And in the health sector, the government has also said that healthcare will be free for retirees. These are people that have spent the best part of their lives serving the Nigerian nation. Now healthcare will be free for them. And also there is a particular area in the health sector that the government has declared subsidy, that has given subsidy on for screening in this particular health sector. I can't remember which particular issue it is. That is part of achieving the Nigeria of our dream. The Nigeria of our dream will only come to pass. It's evolving. A country evolves. The Nigeria of our dream will come to pass when we all play our role, when even the media focuses less on the hills, on the challenges, on negativity, and begin to project. Let me give you an instance. I've been very angry with the Nigerian government with the way they calculate inflation, the percentage of inflation in Nigeria. I just gave you a very practical example of inflation from $10 to $20 within a space of 4 years. And the Canadian government is telling us today that inflation rate in Canada is 1.7%. Please make that make sense to me. How can that be 1.7%? Definitely, there's something that the Canadian government is not telling Canadians. They have a way they project their country because they know that negativity impacts them, negative statistics has a way of impacting their economy, has a way of impacting their image in the global setting. Now, in August alone, Canada lost 83,000 jobs. That means 83,000 people lost jobs in Canada. And for Canada to have said 83,000, it simply means the figure is being managed. Let's put it that way. So the Nigeria of our dream will continue to evolve when Nigerians see patriotism beyond political affiliation.
Absolutely.
It is only in Nigeria, it is only in Nigeria when you are optimistic, when you try to project people in a particular direction, that they call you an agent of the government, that they tell you, oh, he's being paid by the government to talk. Why do I need to be paid by
just
the
a moment. Let me quickly get your reaction on the safety of lives and property of Nigerians at this time. We saw reaction and counter-reaction to the issue of Boko Haram insurgency in the country. And the former aide to the former president, Garba Shehu, who said yesterday that Boko Haram did not nominate BuharI as their mediator. Now, he said something about to be president in 2027, Goodluck Jonathan should look for another story to tell Nigerians. So this issue of insecurity is still on the front burner. How do we tackle this?
Thank you very much. It's unfortunate that we're still grappling with the issue of Boko Haram and insurgency generally and banditry in Nigeria. And sincerely, the issue of Boko Haram is no longer a Nigerian challenge, it's an international challenge. There was a revelation in the United States recently. I'm going to come to what former President Jonathan said. There was a revelation recently when the Trump administration canceled USAID, that USAID funds were being used to fund Boko Haram in Nigeria, to fund terrorism. That simply tells you that this has taken international coloration. There is an international dimension to it. When you look at the weapons available to these bandits, available to these insurgents, you begin to wonder where they are getting their supplies from, who is delivering to them, who is funding them. The issue of insurgency, insecurity in Nigeria is at the very core of our social responsibility to the state. We know Even these insurgents live amongst us. They live with the villagers. They live with them. If the villagers, the people know them. How are we helping the government to actually fight this? So the menace of insurgency, it's something that has to become a national responsibility for every Nigerian. And talking about President Jonathan, I think it is a bit unfair for President Jonathan to make that statement. I call it spitting on somebody's grave. He's only spitting on the grave of President Muhammadu Buhari. Why didn't he ever make such a statement when Buhari was still alive? That he had to make it when Buhari is dead now. We know that there was a faction of Boko Haram as at that time in 2013 or 2014 that said, oh, they would prefer to have Buhari as their mediator to represent them. And the main faction, the main Boko Haram group, came out to denounce that statement that at no time did they actually approve late President Muhammadu Buhari as their mediator, as their representative to meet with the Nigerian government. So that was already cleared as at that time. But I think it is ingenious, it is evil of President Jonathan, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, to utter that statement when Buhari is now dead, when the man is not able to defend himself. But I'm glad that Garba Shehu has responded effectively.
Absolutely.
And it is also on record. Let's get one thing clear, that running for election in 2027 has nothing to do with Buhari. Why bring Buhari up? He's not running against, if Jonathan is running in 2027, he's not running against Buhari. So what has Buhari got to do with this? And as at that time that this statement was made, APC was not in power. It was Jonathan that was the incumbent president.
Well,
and how did they manage the Boko Haram?
We all crave,
issue happened.
Mr. Adedosu, we all crave for Nigeria of our dream and expect things also get better in the country. Well, it's a fine place to live it. Co-founder, Africa Data Warehouse, Mr. Adedosu, many thanks for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. And once again, happy independence to Nigeria. And I want to say one thing, with concerted efforts by being intentional, the Nigeria of our dream we so talk about can be achieved. It's up to you and I to lift our heads and keep it there to make the success of it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Away from that, now from Nigeria to Ethiopia, a continental expedition is spotlighting culture, tourism, and Africa's shared future. We'll discuss this after this break. Join us again.